Temperatures in the low to mid 60s. 7-day forecast. There's your cloudy weekend. The rain early Monday. And then going through next week, sunshine and temperatures in the 70s, which is way above average, actually, because next week the average continues to fall into the 60s. So we'll stay above average and dry through most of next week.
WCNC Charlotte.
Weather is a kind of science that you get to see and experience every day. And I think some people don't even realize how much it affects them. That weather has a huge impact on how it threatens your family, your livelihood, or your home. So I think it really is one of those defining things we do that really affects everybody in our community.
See the difference.
That process of giving you a warning ahead of time and keeping you and your family safe is really important to me because I live here too. It's my family, it's my friends, it's my neighbors.
If you listened to Charlotte radio back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you probably got to know Chatty Hattie, a barriers breaking disc jockey back in the day.
And tonight, Larry Sprinkle catches up with his old friend who made her name spinning the tunes from Belmont to Boone.
It's not often in life that you can say you sat next to a pioneer, a trailblazer, a legend.
Hattie Leeper was the very first black female radio DJ in Charlotte. Actually, one of the first in America.
I had made myself accessible at the radio station.
Leeper began working for WGIV Radio at the age of 14, helping around the station, learning the ropes from the seasoned announcers.
We would watch what the other DJs, the pros.
By 1951, as a 17-year-old high school student, she was on the air with her own show and stayed on the air for decades, becoming a household name in Charlotte and all across the Carolinas.
That microphone until today. Just give me a mic and let me go.
Hattie became very involved in the music industry as well. She managed a number of local music groups and even started her own record label called Aware.
I've produced several records. I had a cash box and a Billboard #1 record back in those days.
During this time, Chatty Hattie had the opportunity to become acquainted with some of the legends in the world of music. For example, Aretha Franklin, right?
Mm-hmm. Used to do all of her sessions. Well, James Brown would have a hot record out. He cut one of his records at Arthur Smith Studios on Monroe Road, and I was there for that. Papa got a brand new bag.
Hattie Leeper earned a master's in education administration at Central Piedmont Community College and soon became a college instructor. Eventually, Hattie served as the Dean of Communications at Gaston College. She held that position for 11 years.
People were coming all out the woodwork, coming to Chatty Hattie. They wouldn't say going to Gaston College. I'm going to Chatty Hattie in Dallas. They say Dallas, Texas. They say no, North Carolina.
Later, this amazing lady became the founder and owner of Chatty School of Communication and opened her own local record stores. Over the years, Hattie Leeper has received many awards and honored dozens of times.
Right behind you here on both sides of the wall.
Earlier this month, she was given one of the biggest honors of her life, induction into the National Black Radio Hall of Fame. This was at a special ceremony at the Harris-Stowe State University's Emerson Theater in St. Louis. Marcia Burton is a longtime Charlotte broadcaster who was greatly influenced by Hattie.
She's such an influence to have that kind of ability to open a door that wasn't even open, and to allow people like me to get into radio because of her.
Well, hello there, world.
Even after all these years, Hattie Leeper, Chatty Hattie, still has those DJ skills.
Listening is always worth your while. Let's get it on, baby. Come on, Marvin Gaye. Suck it to me, baby.
Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
Still got it.
So great.
Yeah, opening the doors, trailblazing, still today making an impact.
And like all of the things that she's done. I mean, you could pick her brain for years about all of the wisdom.
A wealth of wisdom and knowledge there. Great story, Larry.
Now to some stories and our daily checklist. Here are 3 stories worth knowing about. 1, a Charlotte Department of Transit employee arrested for using a city gas card to fill up personal vehicles. Police say Corey Barnett spent over $10,000 on that gas card to fill up multiple vehicles at different gas stations. He's charged with embezzlement, fraud, and theft.
happening now. Crime Stoppers increasing the reward for information in a Charlotte area murder. Eddie Alvarado was shot and killed on Southern Loop Boulevard in Pineville in October of last year. The case has been unsolved. The reward now for information that leads to an arrest is sitting at $40,000. If you know what happened, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. The number you see there on your screen, 704-334-1600.
Well, Halloween weekend now just hours away. And if you're still looking to get into the holiday spirit, there are still a lot of opportunities to get spooked out if that's your thing. Wake Up Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us now from Scarrigan Farms in Mooresville. Richard, you guys have checked out a lot of things in the area, including an abandoned juvenile jail, now one of the top destinations, evidently, for ghost hunters.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. I don't know why Reuben Wallace always wants to get me out this early in the morning at places like this, but I'm at Scarrigan's Farms. I hear noises all around, but anyway, yeah, it's kind of scary. This place is open every day starting now, going throughout this holiday weekend at dusk when sun sets, and of course it gets dark and it's scary. You know, something else that's scary is the Stonewall Jackson Detention Center that has a fence up around it now, and that's for good reason, because that place is haunted too.
When really bad things happen in a place over a period of time, those vibrations stay in that place. My husband and I were driving by. We were actually looking for houses in the Concord area, and we happened to drive by. And I do have a bit of a bad habit of liking to look in old abandoned buildings. So I made him pull in there, and we were able to go into all of the cottages that we wanted to. Nothing was boarded up. There was no fences or anything. There is something very creepy about being in there. The things I was most struck by were how shiny the hardwood floors were. I thought it was amazing that these gorgeous hardwood floors were sitting there. I didn't feel any unease or disease while I was in there, but when we left, I looked up Stonewall Jackson Training School, and I was absolutely shocked at what I found. The reason the floors were so beautifully shiny was that the boys were made to scrub the floors as punishment. It was after that I could personally feel the presence of those boys. It's probably good they put that fence around there and put so much barbed wire and stuff to contain that negative energy. There's nothing that feels positive about that place.
Yeah, that's scary. Just like coming out here from dawn. Oh, hey, in Mooresville, Richard Devane. Hi, how you doing? Bye.
Oh my goodness, so scary. All right. Hey guys, reminder, we do want to see your Halloween costumes. Hopefully they aren't as scary as those costumes. Text us 704-329-3600 or use the hashtag WakeUpCLT. We'll show them today. We'll show them Monday on Halloween, but keep those photos coming.
What is Near Me? If you see breaking news, just open the WCNC News app and go to Near Me on the bottom right. Tap Share with us, upload a photo or video, and tell us about what you saw. Hit Submit, and once you see success, your news has reached WCNC Charlotte.
Time now to connect the dots and we make the news make sense. Halloween means trick-or-treating, and when it comes to candy, everyone has their favorite, of course, but there's one that has many at odds.
Why is candy corn the most divisive of all Halloween candy? Let's connect the dots. Love it or hate it, candy corn is a staple of Halloween. The tri-colored triangles bring strong responses from its fans and even stronger reactions from its critics. Since it has no contrasting flavors, it can end up just tasting intensely sweet. That can cause palate fatigue, like eating spoonfuls of sugar. There's also the matter of bugs in the candy. The lac bug produces a waxy, waterproof coating used in things from paint to food. It's usually called confectioner's glaze, and it gives candy corn that shiny exterior. But if you are on Team Candy Corn, you're not alone. According to USA Today, 9 billion kernels are produced annually. And you can expect to pay more for the candy this year. Clover, a consumer data financial platform, says prices are up at least 5% this year. And that's connecting the dots.
While the Panthers prepare for life after CMC and to host divisional opponent Tampa Bay on Sunday, Senator Bradley Bozeman and his wife Nikki are continuing their effort to give back to the community. They sat down with WCNC Charlotte's Ashley Stroline to discuss how they're using the Halloween spirit to give back.
Going back to the beginning of putting your foundation together, what were the beginning talks and why did you want to not just maybe do a give back, but like make a foundation and continue to impact the community on a daily basis?
We were young. You were like 19, right?
Yes, I think I was 19, you were 20. We were asked to do a video for this little girl simply because of her race. She was being bullied. I mean, she was everything that I would want my daughter to be. She was smart, she was athletic, she was a great kid, had great grades. And so we said, you know what, we're not going to do a video. We're going to come down to the school, we're going to talk to the kids, to the girl in the bullies. We get there and the principal goes, hey, I hope you don't mind, but I set up an entire school assembly. And me, I was not a public speaker in that aspect, but Nikki's a social butterfly. Like any opportunity she gets to speak, she will. So we got up there, we started talking, the emotions started rolling, just the feelings started going. It was one of the most eye-opening and life-changing moments of our lives. We got in the car, we looked at each other and it's like, this is what we're supposed to do. And from there, I think we've talked to over 100,000 kids to that point. We've been into, I can't even tell you how many schools.
You signed a one-year deal to come here to Carolina, but you immediately embraced the community. You jumped into giving back and just getting to know the fans in the city. Why did you want to jump in as quickly as you did and just make your impact?
Yeah, we've been given such a big platform, and we want to use it to the best of our ability. This has always been something we've been really passionate about and giving back to our communities in any way we can. So, that's just what we're trying to do here, and we hope to stay here for a long time.
Let's talk about this Halloween party, gearing up for your second annual Halloween party. You're going to have it here at Fahrenheit, which has the best view in all of Charlotte. But just tell me, what can folks expect that are going to buy tickets?
I think we have 45 guys already signed up. You know how it is. There's going to be more guys trickle in. So just really excited about it. Going to be a great event. We're going from 7 to 10 on Monday night. There'll be a 50-50 raffle. There'll be silent auctions. There'll be all kind of fun surprises. So I would love to come out and, wear your costume and have a good time.
Speaking of costumes, can I find out ahead of time what are the Bozeman's going to be this year?
It's a surprise.
Yep.
We've kept it a surprise every year, but you should come and then you'll find out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Last year, you guys, was it Flintstones? Is that what
Flintstones, yes.
Yeah, we had a full Flintstone car and everything. It was great. It was so much fun.
Love it.
When it comes to WCNC's chief meteorologist Brad Panovich, our viewers tell the whole story.
Hey, if you're new to the area, this meteorologist is awesome.
I always stick with Brad Panovich when it comes to severe weather. He's rarely wrong.
You should follow Brad if you don't already. He's usually right on the money with his forecast.
I don't look at anything else besides what Brad says. We are fortunate to have him here.
Brad Panovich. Experience the difference with WCNC Charlotte weather.
The cycles of fall plants are complex, but our understanding of their response to climate change is growing. Timing and brilliance of fall color is influenced by factors such as temperature, sun exposure, and rainfall. Any shifts disrupt the ecological and economic value linked to fall foliage. Here in North Carolina, the fall color season in the Western Mountains is the busiest tourist season for this area.
A lot of mom and pop businesses may make their annual profit during this season.
Warming brought on by climate change can dull reds, oranges, and yellows and delay the peak foliage period. Dr. Howard Neufeld, a professor of biology at App State University, said in his research and experience, the strongest correlations are with the weather at the end of summer.
It's a little more complicated because trees are responding to two things in the fall. They're responding to the shortening of the days, and they're responding to the temperature.
All trees react differently. Neufeld says trees like flowering dogwoods seem to respond to day length, while a maple tree may respond quicker to the temperature change. When we stay warmer later in the year, the leaves turn at different times. He calls it desynchronization.
Instead of having all the trees kind of explode in color in the same week or week and a half, if it's warm, you have the trees, depending on day length, doing their thing and turning no matter what. But the other trees are waiting.
Warmer summers can also delay the color change, leading to a shorter foliage season. Some years, intense heat and heat waves prompt leaves to fall before autumn even arrives. Early cold snaps are just as bad. A tree may start to turn color, and then we warm back up.
And if the tree isn't prepared, then if it gets a sudden freeze when it's not expecting it, it could drop its leaves. So all these kind of climate changes can have pretty drastic effects on the fall color experience.
Lack of rainfall is a huge problem too. If trees become drought stressed during the summer, they'll just drop their leaves.
Some years I've seen that where they don't even turn color. They just go from being on the tree and the next week they're gone.
Neufeld also said new data shows we're getting more intense rainfall events with longer dry periods in between, so the annual rainfall totals don't change.
So then the question becomes, how do trees and plants react to that? If they're used to rain, every so often, and they're growing, how would they react when they get a ton of rain in just 2 days and then it's 2 or 3 weeks before they get the next rain? We don't know the answer to that.
As extreme weather events such as hurricanes become more common and more intense, the strong winds and blinding rain can strip trees of their leaves completely ahead of fall. Climate change also poses longer-term threats that could disrupt leaf peeping. The spread of diseases, invasive pests, and the northward creep of some tree species are all tied to warming temperatures. For WCNC Charlotte, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
When did you know what you wanted to be?
Hey, Mom, the weather's on!
WCNC Charlotte's chief meteorologist, Brad Panovich, always knew what he was meant to do.
Right, don't forget your umbrella.
In fact, he joined the American Meteorological Society when he was 13. Now Brad is all grown up, and you can see him right here on WCNC Charlotte, making sure you're informed and safe.
Hey, where did all my hair go?
Experience the difference.
All right, let's turn back to our forecast now. We are in the lower 60s. We are reaching some cloudy conditions. We're going to be walking into that this weekend, Brad, and a little bit of rain, too.
Yeah, a little bit of rain out there, but I think the clouds are going to catch people off guard because when you're out in this weather for an extended period of time with no sunshine to keep you warm, if you're sitting at a football game, a soccer game, you're at a fair, you're trunk or treat, it's going to get cold very quickly, so make sure you're bringing plenty of layers. We're seeing some of those clouds starting to thicken up across the area from our Mr. Sparky Carolina camera network. Also some beautiful fall color out there. We're getting near the high color levels here across the Charlotte area. Some beautiful color. By next week, we should be near peak here in the Piedmont, including the Charlotte area. In 2 weeks, we'll be past peak. So this next couple of weekends, good time to go through the foothills in the Piedmont to see some of the best color. Uwharrie National Forest, Morrow Mountain, some great areas east of Charlotte that you might want to check out because the color there is spectacular. Little low pressure system near the coast is spreading some moisture inland in the form of drizzle or mist. That's really not the big weather maker. That is to our southwest. So tomorrow, northeast winds and increasing clouds are going to keep temperatures pretty much stuck in the low 60s. I think the same story for Sunday. Notice not a lot of green on there, even through Sunday. If we see anything, it's going to be a light shower. Now, going into Monday, some heavier showers are going to try to develop ahead of this cold front, but even those look to be pretty scattered right now. So just imagine kind of a dreary, cloudy weekend with a passing area of drizzle or mist. I like to call this intermittent wiper weather. Every once in a while, I need to turn the wipers on. That's about it. And then on Monday, we'll keep an eye on these scattered showers. By 2 o'clock, we should see some developing to the west. These should be pushing east in time to be out of here for trick-or-treating, but it's going to be a close call. I'll be honest with you right now. I would have the rain gear ready just in case for trick-or-treating, though we're not looking at anything too widespread. Monday is the highest chance of rain, though, in the next 5 days. We need the rain. Just hate to see it happen on the holiday. But this weekend, it's all about the clouds. These guys right here, a lot of these this weekend. Low 60s, cloudy, cool, some drizzle, especially early tomorrow and again on Sunday. As far as Monday's concerned, here comes that moisture from the west pushing east. Now, if it continues to pick up speed and moves at this current speed, it should be out of here in time for trick-or-treating. We're just looking at maybe some drizzle or showers early on. As the evening goes on, I think conditions will improve as long as the system doesn't slow down. it slows down. It's going to put a lot more rain in this time frame, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening on Monday. So the weekend, it's about the clouds. I think that's going to be the story that you'll notice. Not a lot of sunshine, but it'll feel like autumn. It'll feel like Halloween weekend because it will be crisp and cool, like temperatures in the low to mid 60s. 7-day forecast. There's your cloudy weekend. The rain early Monday, and then going through next week, sunshine and temperatures in the 70s, which is way above average.
Hey everybody, and thank you for joining us here today. I am Chief Bill Scott of the San Francisco Police Department, joined by our District Attorney, Brooke Jenkins, to my right. We have our Assistant Chief of Operations, Chief DAYLENGTH, and our Deputy Chief of Investigations, Raj Paswanti, with me as well. So I wanted to start off by saying thank you again for being here, and I want to give you an update, as we said we would, given as much as we can talk about at this moment. And let me start off by saying this is still a coordinated and collaborative effort between the San Francisco Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Capitol Police, and our San Francisco District Attorney's Office led by DA Brooke Jenkins. At this time, the San Francisco Police Department is still the lead investigating agency. Each agency is evaluating the facts that flow from this investigation and evaluating those facts within their respective authorities to take the appropriate action. First, I'd like to provide a little more detail of what transpired this morning when the officers arrived at the scene. We've gotten a lot of questions. We want to clarify some things. There are just a lot of theories and speculation out there, so I will provide the detail I can, but please understand that this is an ongoing and active investigation, and there's a lot that we still need to dig into. So when the officers arrived and knocked on the front door of the residence this morning, the door was opened by someone inside, and the officers observed through the open door Mr. Pelosi and the suspect, Mr. DePappy, inside the entryway of the home. At this time, the officers remained outside of the threshold of the home, and they observed Mr. Pelosi and Mr. DePappy each with one hand on a single hammer. There was one hammer that the officer observed. Officers, while still outside of the doorway threshold, gave commands to both men to drop the hammer. Mr. DePappy immediately pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently attacked him with the hammer. The officers immediately entered, tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took the hammer away from him, and took the suspect, Mr. DePappy, into custody. They requested emergency backup, and they rendered medical aid. I can confirm that Mr. DePappy forced entry into a rear door at the rear of the Pelosi home. And I'd like to reemphasize the quick response and actions of our officers, Officer Colby Wilmus, Officer Paul Cadney, and Sergeant Edmund Plum. Also, I want to reemphasize and thank our dispatcher, Heather Grimes, for her intuition, her quick thinking. She had to interpret what she was being told. And based on her experience and her intuition, she basically figured out that there was something more to this incident than what she was being told. Her actions, in my opinion, resulted in both a higher priority dispatch and a faster police response. I think this is life-saving. Lastly, I want to thank our firefighters and paramedics from the San Francisco Fire Department, also for a quick response.
Hey, somebody calling. I keep getting a call from somebody. I don't know who it is.
At the hospital. We've gotten a lot of questions about security.
Thanks. Bye.
First of all, I want to say that the U.S. Capitol Police is responsible for protection of Speaker Pelosi and her family. The San Francisco Police Department will assist in any way we can. I've been in contact with Chief Tom Manger of the U.S. Capitol Police. We've been in contact with his investigators and at least one of his chiefs, and we are working collaboratively. Any questions about the security of the Pelosi home should be referred to the U.S. Capitol Police. That is their responsibility, and I would ask that you refer any questions about security to them. I won't be able questions about how many times Mr. Pelosi was struck, and there's a lot of speculation out there. What we know is he was struck at least one time. We're going through our evidence, and when we have a definitive answer, we can release that. But right now, we don't. So we know he was struck at least one time, and that's what we know. We also know, based on our investigation at this point, that this was not a random act. This was intentional. And it's wrong. Our elected officials are here to do the business of their cities, their counties, their states, and this nation. Their families don't sign up for this to be harmed. And it is wrong. And everybody should be disgusted about what happened this morning. With that, we will take any questions, and we'll only answer what we can answer. Right here.
Question for you. We're seeing some sort of law enforcement activity at the suspect's home in Berkeley. Can you clarify what may be going on there in terms of any search warrants, or search warrants going to be put out for his phone? Can you update that situation?
Well, this investigation, there's a lot of moving parts. We are writing search warrants, and as we learn more, we may have to write more search warrants. That's about all I can say. I don't have any results, and our investigators have been on this since the wee hours of the morning, and they're still on it. So we're going to do everything we can to uncover every piece of evidence that we can to hold this person accountable.
So they have been into the home?
I'm not sure that they've been into the home at this point, but I do know that we have written search warrants, and that work is ongoing.
Is the suspect on a 5150 hold, or are they in jail?
Well, I can't, the suspect is still in the hospital. Definitely I cannot release, and it's not appropriate for you need to release any of the suspect's medical information, but the suspect is still in the hospital. Well, let me say this. We intend to book the suspect, whether it's in absentia or whether it's in person. He will be booked for felony charges.
And you can't confirm whether or not he's on a 5150?
I cannot confirm anything about this person's medical condition.
Last question right up here.
Yeah, you say this wasn't a random act. What can you say about it? Do you think this was politically motivated?
We are not at the point where we can say what the motive is publicly, but we do know this was intentional. It is not random. We know that.
Just about the dispatcher, can you say anything about how they needed to interpret the call, why he couldn't speak plainly?
Well, what I can say is that dispatchers have to report what's being told to them. And when you have an experienced dispatcher with good instincts, they learn how to read between the lines, but they have to report what's being told. They can't report anything other than what's being told. She knew something more was going on, just in her heart and her intuition, just with her experience. And that calls for a higher priority than this type of call normally receives. This was a well-being check. And she just knew there was more to it, so she alerted our officers. She went that extra step, and because of it, they dispatched it at a higher priority than this type of call normally is, and that led to a quicker response.
Chief, how was Mr. Pelosi? How did he?
Thank you very much, Chief.
Chief, how did he manage to call 911?
He was able to call 911. So he was a caller. He was able to call 911, and dispatch kind of took it from there and read between the lines. So just a roll going all the way around.
But was he speaking in a code, sort of, so that the assailant would know he was on the phone? Is that essentially?
What he said, she felt that there was something more to it. But again, dispatchers have to report what they're being told. But thankfully, experience and intuition, sometimes when you're in this business long enough, you kind of get a sense for things, and her intuition was on point.
It did happen.
Okay, that'll do it for now. We're done for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have availability tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get her.
Oh shit, Cheryl.
Yeah,
Well.
Butter is a dairy product. You need either milk or cream to make it. Data shows the dairy industry is dealing with a labor shortage. In fact, the